And we're back to talk about the episode we just watched. Let me also make episode 7 live.
My trauma.
My trauma.
For those of you that just can't wait and don't want to hear our bullshit.
Welcome to Tales Unraveled.
Welcome to Tales Unraveled. We are here to discuss episode 6, the premiere of book 2. How do we even start, do we think? Do we start with the ending? Or
I guess pour one out for the amazing Sidolagos.
Yeah, Rip Sidolagos.
The great Sidolagos, sir.
Well,
he's dead. He doesn't care.
I mean, he's well done. You well did. Poor Sidolagos.
It's one of the...
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's one of those things where like we experience the story together, but like obviously I'm not in the room when that scene happens, and so me just editing it over and over because like Stephan and I are like co-editing a lot of book 2, and I'm just putting a lot of finishing touches on stuff, and like the first time I saw that happen because I'm only told what is happening because I wasn't there, but just from experiencing it the first time I saw it, I was like, wow, that's really powerful. But then as I've edited it over and over and over, I think I've seen him self-immolate or whatever it's called like 17 or 18 times, and now I just consistently cry like every time. I think it's just
one of the things where you live with it for a bit and like really think about the choice he made. Like, it actually starts to make you really sad.
It's really like it's a dumb role-playing game, but it is so powerful that he goes into the room so self-absorbed of being like, I have to protect myself, and Karna gives such a motivational speech and rolls so well that he chooses to
kill himself.
Yeah, that's like
for the
so
greater
powerful.
good. I talked the man into burning himself alive. That
you didn't know that's what you were doing. To be fair,
I did not. I
didn't know that. Yeah, I like just a really like, I love D&D for like multiple purposes and all that, but like that, something like that is like, it's so interesting how that can elicit like real powerful feelings from me of like, I'm annoyed that I'm crying while I'm editing because I'm like, I have a deadline to meet. I can't like stop, like I'm like wiping at my face being like, this is annoying. Can I stop caring now? But I think I care more every time I watch it, unfortunately.
I will say, I think this one deserves a vocal shout out. Thank you, Dominic the Donkey, for giving us $100.
No shit.
Oh, for real.
Wasn't able to watch the premiere stream. Hope everyone's doing good. We're doing great, and thank you so much. That is very appreciated.
Yeah, much love to everybody who's joining us live here. Those who are joining us on either YouTube Live or on Twitch. We greatly appreciate it.
Our channel revenue.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, it's important for making sure we can make more. So like, it's always appreciated because we really want to make more.
That said, speaking of making more, we do have books 3 and 4 also filmed, and I'll say, without spoilers, looking back on things that are happening presently, kind of crazy. Like we have a whole different context.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I really like to play.
We have to be quiet. Like we have to be quiet about it. It's like, I want to say this so bad.
Yeah. Just know I love playing the long game, and it's stuff where you could figure it out, but you're probably not going to. But I always try to leave clues so that you go, oh.
But right now we've been introduced to this beautiful, serene place that in a fantasy RPG setting, nothing bad ever happens in those.
You can't scour the Shire.
You can't do things to idyllic little towns. What? That's so mean.
That nice old Sauron guy's just moving in across the street.
Yeah, this is one of those things where, like, just to talk meta stuff a bit. Like Nick was talking about wanting to go back and go back to Tradesman's Saddle and stuff.
I wanted here peek behind the curtain. What I wanted to do was like a Footloose kind of thing. I wanted to go help the bakers. And save the town from it was the Cullen family, right? That's kind of like gobbling everything up.
We gotta teach Red how to dance
and like liberate them from like the church's control a little bit. Like I wanted to do a Footloose. I called it Hoof Loose, but we went this direction after Stephan was like, no, I have a better idea.
I'm big on seeing new places with every book if we can.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
It was what? 4, maybe 5 months between filming book 1 and filming book 2.
Yeah.
we already had book 1 come out, I think, by the time we were trying to film book 2.
Yes.
So at what point did you... trying to think about how to best phrase this. We're thinking about putting us towards greener pastures because Karna has the relationship there, but
I think while I was
after what happened in book 1, it was kind of just an open way about which way we would go.
I think while I was editing, I come up, like, part of the reason I like being able to, like, sit down, like, Jesse's helping now, which is a huge help.
Jesse's helping.
Jesse's doing a lot of the rough edits that make my mind scream. so that I can focus on, like, the details and the art, like polishing it up. But, like, what I do like about being able to take that time is that it gives me ideas for, like, oh, and we can pay off this later. Like, it forces me to go over everything with a fine-tooth comb, which gives me more ideas to feed into the show.
As somebody who also DMs, there's that moment where you're, like, realizing, okay, where do I go with this arc? And then you find that one thing that you think will click perfectly with one of the players, and you're like, ah.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where I'm a little railroady when it comes to getting you guys to the story, but also once we get to the story, I go completely hands off, be like, all right, go, run, do what you're gonna do.
I was remarking how during the setup for the party, you gave us all of these things that we could have gone and interacted with, and I'm just like, nah, I'm good.
We'll just hang out with each other. And it's like, okay, well, I need you guys to split up.
Well, I set myself off to do other things. I had a chat with them, and then I went and glad.
But it did get to a point where I had to, like, tell you guys, all right, what do you guys do away from each other?
Fuck off.
You each have different storylines that can converge.
Yeah, you're the first DM I know who has purposely split the party. Honestly, to a little peek ahead, no spoilers, to kind of a masterful degree in some situations.
Thank you.
It's kind of crazy.
That's very appreciated.
What you do in book 4 astounded me. And
that is that is very high praise. Thank you. I think people can tell by now. I really, and having you guys as players, I think also helps with this because you guys, I think similarly. I really try to treat this as a show. So I try to treat the writing as seriously as I, we have to improvise it, but I also try to make sure it has payoff, like setup, payoff, foreshadowing, all this stuff, which requires a little bit of railroading here and there. But I'm confident enough in my improv that I will let you guys just go, and I'll find a way to put something in.
Yeah, totally.
So many story stuff come up just because I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll put it right here.
I was gonna say, speaking of all the work you put in, Super Strays with a $10 dono, thank you very much, asked if you were considering doing like a art book or a visual guide.
The other day I was thinking, like, we have so many materials that we could one day do that. We definitely have to get to a point where we feel like the time and cost would be justified. So like not any time like immediate.
Gotta get demand too. So share it with your friends if they like.
It's
too.
It's one of those things where like our ability to do certain types of merch, we'd love to do all types of like all kinds of cool merch, but we are limited in our ability to do that based on demand.
We got to devote resources to what produces the most. It's boring business shit that I hate dealing with.
If we could just make cool stuff and just not care who buys it, we would. We absolutely would.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up though, because like literally, I think yesterday, Stephan, you messaged me and we're talking about we can make an art book one day. Like,
yeah, it's like, oh, I have all these things. I have all the files. But stuff that we can easily do. Like we're gonna make shirts for characters and stuff. We're actually working on a Karna shirt right now. We're gonna release albums, both a album just to listen to for each season so far. Like an individual album for each season, and a DM loops album filled with like the songs that I have that I built to loop anyway, so that people can just use them in their games. So like we do have stuff coming up in terms of merch that we hope people will enjoy. But for now, definitely the focus is like do the show, make the show really good, and hope people show up for it. Someone also asked, did I intend on ending on the girls like being frozen for the end of the episode? No, I just thought it'd be funny when I was editing. That joke didn't even so the cutaway didn't even happen until I imagined it in my head as I was editing. It's like, well, I have to do it.
Yeah, you were remarking while we were watching through that took you a lot of time to make that. It's like, well, good thing you got multi-purpose out of it.
Yeah, it's like when you take time away on something that you maybe didn't have to do, may as well reuse it. Do people have any other questions that we have missed as we were sort of talking a bit?
Yeah, this is a Q&A segment. If anybody's got some Q's,
we can also just talk about the show though. Like for instance, there's a few things I this is just so that we can be reminded of this next week. But after this session, when Quinn was on his way home, he texted me in all caps like, "Oh my God, I just realized this."
Yeah, because there was a thing that after
about
the reveal
Fergus,
about Uncle Fergus was made, it's like, now I'm gonna think about everything Uncle Fergus has done so far.
Yeah.
And like Quinn figured out something after the fact, and Nick was asking about was I did I smirk on camera or something when I
no not stuff. Smirking not smirking on camera. I was wondering if internally you were like, yes, I got away with it.
A little bit. I knew I would get away with that one. I think, and I'm okay saying this part out loud. It's the slightest of spoilers, I guess. But when Fergus takes the blossoms from Cassie, I knew you guys would just sort of let that happen, especially if it was just seeming like it was getting a character out of the way.
It's just a thing that's happening.
Yeah, I hide a lot of things in plain sight because A, that's more fun for everyone, and B, it's also the least suspicious thing to do.
Yeah. Just be confident at something, and people will be like, yeah, that belongs.
You can get into a lot of places with the right colored vest and a clipboard.
Well, we have guest stars and Tales Unwritten. Actually, we are planning to have guest stars. Currently, we're actually working on plans to bring in a guest star soon.
It'll be quite a while in the future for you guys. But
what are you saying, Gwen?
Yeah, we had Caden asking what you used to make the music for the show.
FL Studio, and I often use a lot of different contact libraries. Contact spelled KONTAKT. And then I also use the East-West Composer Cloud library often as well, and I just sort of mix and match all the virtual instruments I can find to try and create the sound I want. And I'll note as well the whole the last 10 minutes of this episode are the most I've just straight up scored something.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
far.
I remember watching the original cut and just hearing the ha ha chime start to come in. I'm like, yes, the Robert Eggers chanters.
A Bulgarian choir can do a lot for you. And that's one of the ones I was searching for it.
I think Mongolian throat singing is the new Bulgarian choir. I hear it in so many trailers now.
I feel like it was also the old Bulgarian choir. I think it's just coming back.
Yeah. Do we have a release window for books 3 and 4? We can talk about that on the last episode, but right now, TBA.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna be TBA also by the end of the season. We have no way of knowing. But
unless this blows up mega time.
And then you can hire people.
Everybody's oh my God, 1,000. Okay, let's go, move.
But luckily, the pipeline has so dramatically increased from book 1 to book 2 that I can't imagine how well it's going to go with book 3. Because book 1, Stephan was basically doing on his own.
Yeah.
And it's just way I remember when I started doing the rough cuts for book 2, the relief in your voice when you talked to me, you were like, oh, this is great. I'm so happy that I can just work. I don't have to worry about all this fucking bullshit, just go.
And Jesse's able to take up more and more responsibility as time goes on, which is helpful because this is not my only job in the company. I am also every time we film something, I'm there, and
you do so much.
I'm running Space Duck Video now, which is also an entire job in and of itself. So I'm doing a lot of stuff, but also I care a lot about making this as good as possible. So I want to be involved in this as well.
My buddy Shouted Answer Bob on Twitch asks, in terms of new combat system, example used was for melee attacks. Does this work for magic in terms of both multi-die damage and save DCs, like Fireball for half? For save DCs, it's treated basically the same.
Yeah.
That's how we've done. In terms of multi-die attacks, we discovered that actually is a bit of an issue.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, we're going to have to either fix this system or abandon it.
Spoilers.
Forward.
We're considering going back to just base 5e rule set in book 5.
Yeah, and I'll just have to be mindful of how many enemies are around or what they're doing, because, like, it's just one of those things where the reason we switched this is that we don't, the most of the group, I can't speak for everyone, but I definitely know Jesse and Nick and myself, Quinn, I don't know how you feel about this, don't like combat going longer than it already has for us.
I didn't mind the crunchiness of it. I just didn't like during the caravan chase how much I was fucking sucking. But at least with the new system, it guarantees a lot more hits.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the thing with 5e combat that I always kind of grumble about. Like, it's fun in terms of, like, mechanically, I think it's great. I think in terms of mechanics, it's fun. But in actual play, oh my God, like some big encounters can take upwards of like 2 hours to get through, and you always got to wait for your turn. And if there's a bunch of NPCs, you got to wait through them. And then you finally get to your turn. You do your thing, you miss, fuck, I got to wait another 10 minutes.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, like, I try to mitigate that by I make very quick decisions as NPCs. I don't spend time going, oh, what am I going to do? Oh, man. I was like, no, this is what I think they do in spur of the moment decision. So that helps move things along, but combat still takes a long time, even with me doing everything I can to speed it up. So it's just one of those things where we want to deal with that somehow, because the last thing we need is players kind of getting sick of being here at the table.
Yeah. And while we can, like, edit it down in the process for viewers, when we were filming books 3 and 4, it was literally 2 weeks straight of just kind of sitting and playing D&D, which was awesome, but
if combat had gone any longer,
you feel it.
Yeah.
Had a question about the channel. Will this channel also have non-tabletop videos? Obviously, Tales adjacent, but I'm curious if you'd branch out a bit. Most of our personality content is always going to be on 4-Star Bento. In terms of this channel, I believe the goal right now is to have it be Tales Unwritten, and any, like, offshoots of it. Yeah, these discussions.
Maybe if we have, like, like specifically tabletop related personality stuff, they might go here. But
yeah,
we'd have to, again, like, sort of see a sort of, we'd have to be able to justify spending the time and energy it would take to make that happen.
Continuation of the Halloween special would go hard. I agree, and now that I have more time to work on something like that, I'll continue to consider. So,
like, side quest videos that, like, aren't this in depth are also definitely an option. It's been brought up. I'm calling them side quest videos. I don't know what we call them, but like other sort of tabletop stuff that maybe doesn't require this much work constantly, but still has a level of polish to it.
Yeah, like, we'd have to record any Halloween one shot in, like, August.
Yeah.
Side quest is a cute name for it, though.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's definitely been a thought, especially because, like, you know, there's also been interest in, like, exploring how we feel about other systems, and, like, again, to sort of deal with, like, the combat issue with D&D. Daggerheart does seem interesting. It'd be fun to try it out in, like, a low stakes situation. It'd also be fun to maybe explore different parts of this world through different characters that, like, and doing, like, little mini series about some characters for just a small arc. There's thoughts percolating at all times. But
the focus right now is on the main.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've also considered in the future, no promises, but like every once in a while, booting up the stream and showing the process for me making music or art or something while we're working on a season. That would be a very spur of the moment thing, but it's an option. What other questions have there been? We're
how do you think you will handle player character death situations? I mean, you've seen the way we come from a place of improv where you live in the world.
Yeah.
You have to be in the moment.
And it's one of those things where I will say this, and maybe this will just add more stakes in general. If a player character dies, they're fucking dead. There's no resurrection.
Especially if it's Alex.
There's no resurrection. And if someone were to find a way to preserve someone's life and keep them from fully dying, it would have to be in the moment, for one. And there would be dire consequences to that decision being made. But one thing I just straight up dislike about the D&D, like part of the reason we don't use the D&D world is that I kind of don't like it. But another reason is just like it gives me free reign to just get rid of certain things. Like, no, there is no resurrection spell. Why the fuck would that exist?
Now do you limit that to just purely the spell resurrect, or would something like revivify still work? Because revivify, they can be dead within 15 minutes and you can still bring them back.
I want to say I think it's a shorter time span than that.
It's something like that though.
It would have to be shorter in my. I'd say if you take minutes. 15 minutes.
Revivify is 1 minute.
Oh, it's 1 minute.
Okay, I would allow a revivify then. In that case, yes.
Before brain death would take place.
That's the thing, though. That's what I would add. Is like you would have to roll to see the chances of someone coming out cognitively all there. Because remaining dead for a period of time, maybe a minute's too short for that. But brain cells start dying.
3 minutes is when it really starts hitting.
Okay, so yeah, if Revivify lasted like a 5-minute thing, I would say you'd have to roll to avoid parts of someone's brain dying. Like, I want there to be consequences is my big thing. But if Revivify is just a minute or less, I'd probably allow that. Not that anyone in the party currently has Revivify.
As far as I'm aware, none of us will be able to get it.
Yeah, and I also general NPCs, unless they're you do have to be special to have magic in this world. Most people are normal. Most people don't use magic. It's a hard skill to learn. It takes a lot of work, and not everybody has a talent for it. So it's also not like a D&D world in that every other person doesn't have magic.
Because also dying in general in writing, Stephan and I have had in-depth conversations about this topic specifically because we're writing shows together that involve it, but there's no stakes if people can't die. Death doesn't mean anything if they can just come back. And you see that a lot with shows that involve supernatural elements, especially of nothing means anything.
I mean,
a Winchester dying means nothing.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Steak.
Hi, buddy.
And Dragon Ball as well. Who fuck cares when someone dies in Dragon Ball? Who gives a shit?
Yeah, that we can't feel anything. Yeah. If you can't feel anything for someone's death, then that doesn't mean anything.
In this instance, right? With Sidolo Ghost, if you could just oh wait, pshoom, he's back. Well, there goes that drama.
Yeah.
Good thing we had Revivify.
Yeah, and then that also cuts the stakes for the rest of everyone. So then anyone dying doesn't mean anything either.
For him in particular, you would have needed a 9th level spell because he turned to ash.
Yeah, you'd have to find a way to also regenerate a body. So it would be hard, regardless.
And it was very much real stakes for us in the moment too. Of I wasn't in the room, but I got to see the footage of y'all having that conversation of they're you don't worry, we're gonna heal him for this, we're gonna do that, and then Stephan was it doesn't work, and both of you were what? And he's yeah, no, he's burning away, and you both were just I don't know what to do. I was supposed to do something.
I'll do a little I'll reveal a little thing here. The nature of that magic was going to be he was going to keep burning until he disappeared. It was not going to stop until he disappeared.
So we just prolonged his death a little bit.
Kind of, yeah.
We made it a little. We made it just that much worse.
Someone cast water breathing on him and pushed him off the cliff. He's fine.
Kill him faster.
Because the nature of the contract wasn't, oh well, you know, if you do the wrong thing, you'll take a certain amount of damage. It was, this will happen. You will be destroyed.
That's crazy, because it's also it's always funny when that happens too. I think, what was I? Oh, it's in Never Stop Blowing Up, where there's a character where he the person rolls bad, but it's trying to crush someone's head, but they roll bad, so they're just crushing it really slow, and the guy's like, do it faster, I'm dying, do it faster, that's hurt, stop.
Was it the one where he was being pushed into the wall?
Yeah, never stop blowing up.
Yeah. It was. It wasn't when it was pushing into the wall. It was Kingskin was grabbing someone's head and really squeezing it, but fucked up on the roll, so it was just really slow and painful. And the guy was just like, "I want to die faster. This sucks. This sucks."
Matthew Monkbot. So he intentionally killed himself. He being Pseudologos. He knew that was going to happen. Yes, he was aware of the contract he signed. Which is why me and Jesse get kind of emotional about it now, where it's like he was making a very brave choice, actually.
Yeah, no, he goes into the scene being like, I don't want to die, and that is my main priority. And then Karna inspires him so much that he's like, you know what? Yeah, no, I have to protect everyone, and he fucking kills himself.
And people haven't had time to fully absorb the motifs and leitmotifs yet. But as he's dying, what's playing is just a very like forlorn version of the Greener Pastures theme, because he's dying for greener pastures.
It's the curse of being a high charisma character.
I believe
sometimes success is not fun.
Yeah.
You titled the track For the Herd, right?
I called it The Herd, I think. Or for the Herd. Yeah, you're right. That's what the track's called. The track is called For the Herd.
Yeah, because I remember because it was emotional enough when I was working on it.
And then you read the title.
And then I read the title and I got even sadder.
I do that a few times. Like that one that always plays for Maud when she's thinking about like her family or the Bakers, where it's just called Home.
Reezy Lee asked everybody's favorite D&D classes. Mine is and like just for flavor wise, it's not the strongest class, but I love Monk. Monk is so fun for me flavor wise because I love describing my attacks and doing wacky flippy shit. But I am growing a bit of a soft spot for Bard as well. This is my first time playing a Bard, and I've had a lot of fun with Karna.
Yeah, you've been doing a very role play focused character for once.
Honestly, playing charisma based characters just like. Because I feel like my real life stat sheet is tilted towards charisma more than anything else. Mm-hmm. So playing charisma characters like that just kind of like feels like more of a natural fit.
For me, it's Warlock. I just think Warlock is the most interesting, gives you the most interesting potential story beats.
There's a lot of fun ways to flavor Warlock for sure.
It's like all baked in, and you can do whatever you want with it, really.
I'm a fan of pretty much any class that kind of has a patron built into it. So I guess either cleric or warlock. Warlock having a much more direct line to their source of power. So if I had to pick one, I'd pick warlock too.
Yeah, the way you've been playing paladin has been very warlocky.
I made a deal and I regret it.
I don't actually know the different classes and stuff because I'm very like role play first. So I care about people before I care about. I don't see class. I don't see.
It's why it always amused me when you ended up as a rogue. I'm like, that doesn't feel like your play style.
But that is the character he created.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's fun of just like not knowing anything about it and just fully see what happens. What happens if?
I think I also gave Jesse the option of being a ranger as well, which would have also worked well. But Jesse was like, "Yeah, no, but I think sneaky is better."
But then Jesse would also have had to have kept track of spells, and I know you like mechanically simple characters in that regard.
Yeah, I'm open to playing more complicated shit. I would just need assistance because I'm like I'm gonna be fully in character. So if you can assist me, we need to
buy Jesse the D&D flashcards. We just need to get him those.
Or next time play a druid and we just have a like here's Jesse's assistant.
We do have
Michael.
We do have those books of cards that Jesse will constantly go in and reference.
And it's full. Jesse's book is full.
Every time you get a new weapon, you add a card so you know what to roll and how.
Yeah.
So someone asked before, like, as someone who hasn't DM'd before doing this story, do I have any suggestions or advice for first-time DMs? Honestly, just absorb. For me, I just absorbed a lot of stories from like different DMs who make shows. Honestly, I watch the shows, and I would say a very consistent amount of advice I've seen online, because I also absorb a lot of YouTube videos nowadays about it. But a lot of people say, like, don't hold yourself to the standard like Brendan Lee Mulligan or Matt Mercer or Bria Iyengar or any of those people. And it's like, I absolutely do and will because I am making a show. And also, I am an entertainer.
Home game, don't.
Yeah, for your home game, don't do that. But I am an entertainer. I do have to hold myself to that standard. But that is good advice for most people.
And I think that's why we're also anxious a lot, is because we're doing this publicly for people. The stakes are a lot easier when you're just like doing it for your home game. But
what I try not to expect from myself is having the same command of the game as like a Brendan Lee Mulligan or a Matt Mercer.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we get kind of like cut because we play very collaboratively. Sometimes like the parts that stay in, or sometimes it's like, what would I roll for this? Maybe this, but this, and
yeah, I often just ask, what do you guys think? Because I don't have an ego about how much you know about this game. Quinn and Nick will know more than me. They've played it so much more.
It's funny enough. Like I don't know. I've never seen Brennan interact with like children before, but like he's just had a kid, and I've realized he treats he has a lot more patience with his players than I would in such a good way. I think he's like the best DM on the planet for a multitude of reasons, but one of them is that he is so collaborative in that he, like, someone will suggest something stupid in a game and my brain will be like, was that cringe? Was that weird? But he laughs and he's like, awesome, great, let's do that. And he's immediately on board.
That is actually very, very astute, Jesse. He is a lifelong camp counselor. But
that makes sense. Yeah. That totally fits. And if you're able to like handle children, you're able to handle your players, because like you have to have like empathy basically, and like a very collaborative play style in order to just take in all this stuff and manage people. And and I that fully tracks that he has done that.
Someone asked, Jesse, being exposed to D&D, have you begun watching more D&D sessions from other channels?
Yeah,
I think Jesse, you've shown more interest in non-D&D simpler systems rather than watching D&D.
I did really enjoy, I need to keep watching it. I dropped off because I think I got busy with just something in real life of just like work or whatever. It wasn't anything to do with the campaign, but I liked a lot of what I saw of the high school one that
Fantasy High.
Mentioned. Yeah, I saw a lot of that. I'm in the current process of rewatching Never Stop Blowing Up because I again got busy with life and I watched like 6 episodes and then forgot all of it. But that's also good. I like my fucked up brain that forgets things, because then I can just experience a show for the first time again. And it's really excellent because it at least for me, I really love roleplay first, of like just having fun, and so my brain doesn't have to absorb a lot of complicated rules.
That's
part
of why I recommend A World Beyond Number to you, just because like it's so roleplay focused.
I believe Quinn, did you and I listen to a bunch of that while we were road tripping?
We listened to a little when we were driving up and down from Dallas to Austin.
Yeah.
Did you not listen to any more after that?
No, because I don't have whatever it is. Don't you have to be?
It's a podcast.
It's just a podcast. You could just go to anywhere that a podcast exists.
Really? It's on like Spotify?
Well, I guess I know what we're listening to more of next week.
Oh, okay. Well, it's funny because like I keep going in and out of it because like Quinn is transporting me from surgeries and stuff. So on the way there, I'm lucid. And then on the way back, I'm on drugs. So I'm like, I forget what's happening and I'm like in and out of sleep and stuff.
What do you want to say next? Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say Super Strays has a fun one. Just so like I have nothing to contribute to other D&D podcasts. Asking a fairly poignant one that did you guys help create the world of Tales Unwritten during character creation, or did Stephan have most everything figured out and you picked aspects of the world that interested you? There was a little bit of collaboration in that I finally came up with the type of character I wanted to play, and I said like I kind of wanted to be a satyr, but you hadn't had that race yet, so you went in and just made the Fawnee.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, satyrs, I can incorporate them into the world. And then I was like, I just want to do it in a way that's like incorporates a lot of stuff like you do know about satyrs, but in a, to be blunt, not rapey way. I wanted them to not be rapey. Like, let's make them hobbits that fuck. Like, and that's kind of was our approach. It's just like, what if they're hobbits kind of, but like they're also very sexually free, like hippies.
Yeah.
Very sex
I would
positive.
say, yeah, and I would say for me, it was Stephan had a lot of it already set out, and then I think we were somewhat collaborative about certain aspects of the pontificate, but it was pretty much I had the idea of I want to create someone in the establishment, and then you went, okay, here's the establishment.
Yeah. It's like here's the structure. Here's how everything works. Here's the pontifical council. Here's the high pontiff.
This is what happens when a corpo life path meets a nomad life path.
Here's a character I already
cyberpunk.
Here's a character I already created. You could play him, and then you were like, oh, what if he was my dad? And I was like, sure, yeah. Commander Tremont's your dad then. So like weirdly, Commander Tremont existed before Alex, and he was somewhat fully formed.
He's older than him, so he did exist before Alex.
like you would expect that character to be made because Alex exists, but he was actually folded into Alex's story.
When did Tremont become like, quote unquote, my foil? Like, at what point in the creative process did that happen in your head?
When I read your backstory.
It's like, yeah, that's the guy.
You were like, oh, something bad happens in your backstory involving the pontificate, and I have an old man who's connected to another character, who's also a war hero. Well,
it's actually connected to another question I saw. I can't remember who from, but
well, Jesse didn't get to answer this question.
Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah. I forget how you originally pitched Mod to me, but you were like, here are some options of different creatures.
I created the Shopaloo knowing Jesse would want to go for it. But I was just like, I kind of want like something that's a little Totoro-ish, but not quite. And like I was also looking at there's a character that its French name is Shopaloo in Welsh mythology and whatnot, and I sort of based around that and like incorporated otters and stuff because Bog Cat was one of the names as well. I think that and so I created this sort of otter cat Totoro thing, and it's like, Jesse, would you like to be one of these guys and just sort of inform what these guys are like?
Yeah, because I've never played a female character in D&D before, and I was like, I didn't even like ask like what gender Quinn and Nick were playing, but I was like, you know what? Yeah, I think it's time. I think for the first time I should experience the female perspective.
I think
so I went in there. I
think time's up.
It was also. What? I
think time's up.
Time's up
time for women to take charge. Time's up.
I think in a Bridge series, that influence of me, like, men should be playing women. I think it's time.
Go back to the old Shakespearean traditions.
Yes, of drag. But I think you also were like very soft-balled the French idea, where you were like, I would like, I think they would have French accents, blah blah blah, but you totally don't have to. And I was immediately like, yes, no, I would love to do a silly French accent. Let's do that. And so Maud does start very like stereotypically French, because she is alone with her like family, and so that like if you don't hear any other accents, you're gonna like sound a certain way. And then as the series goes on, her accent kind of develops and changes a little bit as she gets used to other people in the world. So that was also very fun. It started as a very stupid joke thing, and then it turned out to be like, oh, this is actually very, very fun for actually developing a French accent that I can use in like reels and shit. Because that's a lot of what I do, at least as an actor, is just what am I bad at? Let me do more of that so I can get good at it. And that includes accents, and it includes different skills, improv, thinking on my feet. Like we just took improv classes because I was like, I haven't taken one since I was a kid, and I would like to be more confident about that because I'm doing improv, but I want to learn like the technical skills of it. So you do something that you suck at and that you are at least, like not confident about, and then the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Another interesting question from Lilith Collins here. I wanted to get to. Who is each person's favorite character that they don't play?
Ooh,
it's a harder question for me.
You have
I only have three choices.
Which of us is
Which one?
Stephan, come on.
Which one?
Stephan's choice. We'll let you go last.
Yeah, I'll go last. You guys suck.
Okay. Probably I know they just showed up, but for right now, Cassie, for reasons yet to be revealed.
I was also gonna say Cassie.
That's interesting. Quintus, we're coming around to you very quickly.
Well, I'm torn between Commander Tremont and...
He's a close second to me, honestly.
Yeah, and actually Uncle Fergus.
Yeah, those are three really strong choices. Of
Jesse,
like,
what's your second choice?
Yeah, honestly, it would be like Fergus or Tremont. Like,
Then name a different one. Cause...
Oh God.
Hard mode can't be a funny.
Oh, it can absolutely be funny.
The problem is...
There's so many.
I mean, they've technically been introduced, but...
I do honestly really love like both Alex and Karna. I think they're both just like really complex in their own ways where like they've, you know, you start as your own character, but then like me as a person, I start as Maud, but then like getting to know these two people as they've grown and developed and our relationships have changed and all that, like they've grown on me in different ways where I was like, oh, they're very complex, you know, and I'm not in their head, so I don't know how they are until you get to know them and hang out with them more and stuff.
I guess for me, again, like I play everybody who isn't the 3-player characters, so that's a little difficult.
Choose.
But I think I'll just have, because like I like aspects about every character, but I'll go with the character that I think of weirdly as like the sort of more quote unquote fish out of water character who like is like more of a POV character, which is oddly Maud. I feel like Odd's actually more the POV character than Alex, because she's less entrenched in the world. She's more disconnected from the world, which means she's the one learning things all the time. So it's easier to treat her as a POV character than Alex or Karna.
Good night.
Hey, you can't say I haven't been giving you guys stories.
That's an interesting perspective, and that's the right answer.
But aren't I the audience surrogate? I'm helping discover the world.
I was gonna say, like, because it does feel like at the moment, from a storytelling standpoint, that Alex is like kind of a protagonist in a lot of ways, in terms of like what arc you see before him.
Yeah, and it is interesting, like me viewing Maud as a character, because like I don't want to, you know, I can't say things that happen in 3 and 4, but it is very interesting from like books 1 and what we've seen of 2 so far is that Maud is not the main character and is just becomes a main character of like, not trying to, I guess. Like I could see Alex or Karna in their own standalone like story, like I was gonna say book, but I don't want to confuse that with like what we use for the terms of seasons, but like a literal book. I could see plucking Alex out of this and making a book that is him, or Karna being the main character of a book that is him. Well, Maud is like not, she's a comic relief. She's like a sidekick guy.
And I'm really drawn to making like sidekick weirdo characters more of a lead, so that might be my bias.
Yeah, well that makes sense, yeah.
When I originally like decided on Karna, I wanted him to kind of be a sort of like side character who was very like sort of carefree, had stakes in mind, like, you know, he had a reason to be around, but I wanted him to be like almost kind of Gandalf-y, where he just kind of like wanders around. It's like, ooh, this would be fun. I'm going to travel this way for right now. This looks like it'll be a good story later. And for reasons that are slowly becoming apparent in this book, that did not work out.
Well, now, if you present me with something where like this character wants this, and I'm like, well, I have to put things in the way of what that character wants in order for there to be a story.
Oh no, the DM decided I'm plot relevant.
Well, yeah, it's also it's very similar to what you know, Mark talks about Diesel Dust, you know, where he's like, Huxley's kind of the main character because he's not, you know, like he's kind of going off on his own thing and he's not trying to be the main character, and then that creates something in itself.
So Karna's Doctor Who in a way, a bit, honestly. Doctor Who is certainly one of the inspirations for his general nature.
The sort of like
that pacifist, the pacifist wayfarer that gets things done.
Someone asked, "Are there David McSee asked, "Are there rules to calling a flashback, or is it just done on vibes?" It kind of gives Blades in the dark. I have consistently sprung flashbacks on these guys with no warning.
and especially in this episode, like I think this is the only one where I really request a flashback. For like, can we just do this thing and say that we've done it? Because this is the time where there's been like a little bit of downtime on the island to show what we've been up to, and I felt like that was a good way to introduce the both the concept of what Karna's new ability is and the our new combat system.
And Nick unknowingly seeded a future flashback for me to use on him later.
Yep.
But
it's all improv. It's a storytelling game.
But yeah, like, and someone also asked like how much prep is done in. Honestly, my prep is usually what's the next episode going to? What's like the introductory episode to this book gonna be? And then.
What events have been set in motion already that can't be stopped.
And I usually think broad strokes, and I try not to plan too many details because that's going to fall apart. So
especially,
go ahead.
Well, it's like especially given how we've been filming these, because book 2, book 3, book 4 all essentially have this relatively the same filming format where we filmed it all in a week.
Yeah, so the most prep time I get is a night.
Yeah,
and usually some of those were filming uploading footage.
And some of those were filming 2 sessions a day, moving on to book 3 and 4. Some of those were like we filmed 2 in a day.
But I think even with that not being true, I would personally plan broad strokes anyway, because I work best having the freedom to just change things up, and not planning too many things in specifics gives my mind the freedom to do that and to come up with the best story rather than the one I planned.
Yeah, and luckily we are very collaborative in this process, because like there was a point in either 3 or 4, I think it was in 3, there was a point where we recorded for a lot, and then Stephan was like, honestly, I would like to stop here because I need time to prep. I want to prep something for what is about to happen. We were like, okay, and we stopped for the day, like, and we don't have to like commit to a certain thing of like we need this amount of sessions. Well, we were like, no, I need a second, and
we will give you a second. And I do that so rarely.
Yeah.
That when I say that, it's like, okay, well we got to take that seriously.
Right. Yeah. Because like, nothing's really written in stone. There's no rules. That's something I've learned. I think it's also just like me being on the spectrum of like, I think sometimes in writing or D&D, I'm like, there's rules. Like we have to do this and this, therefore this will happen. And playing with these guys who are more experienced in D&D, they've taught me like, oh no, we can just, there's no rules. We can do what we want. Like you don't have to do this thing if you don't want to,
as long as Stephan says okay, then we can do it.
And I often do say okay. It's very rare that I straight up say no to something. It's usually I only say no to something if it directly conflicts with something in the world that I have somewhere or has been established.
Yeah.
But I'll rarely say no to a character choice. In fact, I don't think I've ever said no to a character choice other than like, oh, we should go here, and I'm like, oh, the story's over here.
Yeah, but I have good ideas for this. This would be more fun and interesting.
Yeah, like this would be a better season of TV, which is usually kind of like, that's the way I approach this. Is probably different than a home game. Is that I am treating every single book as a season of television. In terms of it needs a beginning, middle, end. Every single session needs a beginning, middle, and end, and those things need to be satisfying every single time.
A lot of elements of D&D are honestly like kink culture of like you need consent and you need to just trust your scene partner in some way. There's been some moments where I've been like, oh, I don't know, but I've just had to like just trust the DM. Like if you're communicative with each other, sometimes you just need to trust them, and it's always worked out. Like it's always been like, yeah, this is the better choice.
Speaking of being communicative, before like I feel like we're winding down. Yeah. We need to address before this is over. So Jesse, when I asked you in this episode to please tell me what Maud's been doing, leading up to this episode. We had a whole discussion about like how you wanted to be able to use your gun. And I was like, cool. In order for that to happen, I just need you to tell me that you've been practicing. So I'm going to give you an opportunity for that to happen, and you're going to tell me what you've been doing to practice with the gun. And you said, yeah. And then when we got to the session, I said, oh, so what's Maud been doing? And you said, she's been fucking this guy.
He's been discovering sex.
This dude.
She's discovered sex. That's all she's been doing. I am not going to say anything other than this.
Yeah, it makes so much sense for the character. It's like, okay, I need to get serious about things. I need to. Oh, this island's lovely.
So if you guys were excited about Maud using the gun this book, I'm gonna rip that band-aid off now. It's not getting used.
I'm so sorry. You gotta wait. Y'all gotta wait. Maud was having sex.
I mean, it's not like combat happens this book. So, oh shit! I wasn't supposed to spoil.
Oh no!
Yeah, no. There was a certain point whenever a combat thing happens where we cut it so I could just say, but I was like, Maud uses her gun, and Stephan was like, "No, she doesn't. You were fucking. You did. I told you to tell.
Yeah,
you
haven't learned how to use the gun.
What was happening? And you said Maud was having sex and didn't talk about the gun, so she didn't practice with the gun.
Story.
It has to happen in the story.
Your proficiency with a gun and proficiency in a shaft.
It's also funny how like Alex also gets this cool thing and it's like, cool. Anyway.
Yeah.
Never use the shield the entirety of book one.
It didn't feel right to use it.
No, we all learned from it, and in book 3 we do stuff, all right?
But as a storyteller, I don't mind our patience, but I think it's very funny to imagine the audience being like, when are you going to use the cool thing?
Yeah, it's very fair. I understand people being like, wait, Maud has a gun and she's not using it? Or wait, Alex has a shield and he's not using it?
I use every utility at my disposal.
Yeah, no, card is good. He be using it, but it is kind of funny. It's like kind of watching your friend play a video game, and you're like, well, you have this in your inventory.
Oh man, you're bringing me back to like sitting down and like playing Spider-Man with Kaiser and watching him play. It's like you're not doing this. You're not. Press triangle.
Why aren't you doing it?
People in the chat are currently referring to Gritty as a service top, and that is 100% correct.
Oh yeah,
you guys have 100% picked up on the vibe.
I love that it was like genuinely a thing that I sprang on Stephan. So he just picked an NPC and was like, cool, we're doing this. Where you picked Philadelphos and we're like, awesome, Gritty was just a guy, but now we're gonna fling him more into now he's Maud's lover. And I love that it was a joke about Philly because I lived in Philly for a bit. And you know, Gritty, if you don't know Gritty, search Gritty with 2 T's and Philadelphia, and you'll find some lore. Gritty fucking rules.
There's a lot of Philly jokes going on.
He's pro queer. He's chaotic.
I noticed you going back to the well for Wooder a lot. So
Wooder.
Yeah, no, I was literally about to say
Wooder is so funny to people from Pennsylvania. You have no idea.
Yeah, well, no, it started as a joke. Of you know, that's a thing that we say in Philly is instead of water we say Wooder. But I really do love it because he is a service top where I think he just learned like, oh, drink water after sex. So he's like, oh, would you like some water? Like, keep hydrated.
Yeah.
He's genuinely really nice. Like, that's just a thing that he's learned of like, oh, got to keep everyone hydrated.
But he is absolutely a house hubby.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's getting close to Quinn's bedtime. I think we got to start wrapping this up. Is there anything else we want to get to before we call it?
Thank you all for popping in. Lovely to have all of you here live. If you want to join us live, we do these Wednesdays at 5 o'clock Pacific time. So jump on in, ask us your questions, and yeah, thank you so much for watching.
And if you become a YouTube member here at Tales Unwritten for $2, you get early access to episodes. You can go watch episode 7 immediately. Currently, right now, it is currently
the next
available.
one is live.
Yeah, it's here. In next week's episode, I'm going to Texas for a minor surgery, and so I will be in the same room as Quinn. I'm gonna be drugged out, and my balls are gonna be crazy, and I'll be eating good food on painkillers.
Maybe you could just get a slight view of the office.
Get a current status of the old office.
That's gonna be crazy on drugs. I'll be like, what's happening?
It's gonna be wild.
It is as somebody who recently stepped into it, it is kind of surreal to step back in and see how it's been repurposed.
I will feel like I'm dissociating. I'll be like, this is. I know this place, but I don't.
Is this not my beautiful house? Is this not my beautiful wife?
I walk in with a big suit jacket.
And the days go by. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. And yes, I'm putting it up on Patreon as well right now.
I'm gonna go stream some fucking Baldur's Gate.
I'm going to bed.
Night, Quinn.
I'm going to have sex with my wife.
Nice.
The movie Clue. The movie Clue. Anyway, bye, everybody.